Photographers, you keep spending your money on the wrong things. And I don't mean all of you, but a lot of you are doing that. When I started photography and decided that I was going to become a professional photographer, which was really quickly after I began, I had about £1,000 to spend on photography gear, which is about $1,200, probably something in that range. And I had some choices to make. The choice for me was I could get a 5D Mark II with a 50mm 1.8 and be done, or I could get an older camera like a 5D Mark I with a 50mm 1.8 and I could buy some lighting. I wanted to do portrait photography. That was the thing that interested me most and pretty much always has done ever since. And I did come this close to dropping the money on the 5D Mark II, and I'm really glad that I didn't. And it's not because the 5D Mark II isn't a fantastic camera, because it is and I really like it. And it's because the lighting gear was going to allow me to do the things that I wanted to do. I even squeezed out a roll of grey paper backdrop to use for my portrait photography, but I didn't have enough money left over to buy the roller system or a support stand system to put it on, so I ended up cutting pieces of it off and taping it to the wall in order to use it, and that worked. What that enabled me to do was to do the thing that I actually was setting out to do in the first place, and then I could really start learning because I had my own equipment. I had enough to get started and do the things that I wanted to do. My learning curve was really steep. I was learning really fast because I had the right gear to do the job that I wanted to do. Had I gone down the route of just getting the 5D Mark II, I would have been really happy with the camera, but I wouldn't have been able to do the studio portraiture, which is the thing that I actually wanted to do. I'm just going to tell you two other stories briefly as well from people that I know that are similar to this. The first one, I'm going to change the person's name so I don't embarrass them, but my friend, let's call him Gary. He decided that he was going to go into wedding photography because I was doing loads and loads of wedding photography, and weddings, you know, you can make a decent living out of doing wedding photography. And he was looking at getting his first shoot. He was going to do it for free because it was his first time, and he was really close to booking this couple. And then what he did was he went and took the money that he had and he bought a very expensive camera, top-end camera with it. And then he messaged this couple and he told them, look, I've bought this camera, isn't it great? And more to that effect, which they didn't reply to. And the reason they didn't reply to it is because that had nothing to do with them. Their interest level in that was absolutely zero. They had no idea what the camera was, and they just didn't give a damn about it, because why should they? Why would they care about that? They want pictures that look nice. They don't care about what they do it on. Thought that this was going to impress them. It didn't. They didn't book him. They went somewhere else. And even though he was offering it for free and had upgraded his camera gear, he basically lost that job off the back of that email. But more importantly than that, which is kind of like the moral of the story, he'd spent his marketing budget in order to buy it. So I said to him, did you spend the marketing budget that we talked about in order to buy that camera? And he said very sheepishly, yes. And so I said to him, how are people going to book you now? Are you going to walk up and down the street waving your camera around and hope that someone who knows what it is and wants to book you off the back of it? This perhaps emphasizes the point that I'm making the best, is that it doesn't matter whether you want to be a professional or not. It's about being able to do the thing that you actually want to do. Can you do the thing that you want to do already? If so, why aren't you just getting on with it? If you don't have the stuff to do the things that you want to do, how can you get into that in a way that you still have money left over to do it? So let's say you want to do wildlife and you need a longer lens and you're dreaming about this thing that costs $10,000, but realistically you could get something with a slower aperture and it might not be the greatest thing, but if you bought that, you could go out and do it. That's the kind of move that you should be making, and you shouldn't be then looking to try and pair that, oh, this camera that I've got, the focus isn't quite fast enough. So what? At least shoot something and get started and get going on things, because it's more important to do things and actually start producing work, and then you can upgrade your stuff over time. Don't try to wait to have the perfect setup in order to go out and do things, because it affects your mental state. And let me tell you why. I know so many photographers that have bought all of the best gear and it sits on the shelf. They display lenses in cabinets and on shelves like people display ornaments. Look what I've got, I bought this. And then it sits there and they don't use these things because their mindset shifted into that a long time ago. It's easy right? It's easy, especially you old timers, to start thinking it's the younger generation. Oh, they don't know about all the older gear. They just want to go out and buy all the latest mirrorless stuff. No, I'm telling you guys, it's the other way around. When from the stuff that I'm seeing online and what I'm getting, the messages I'm getting, it's you older guys that are after all of the latest gear and all the most expensive stuff, probably because you can afford it, but that's what's happening. It's the younger guys that are messaging me, and I'll give you an example. Don. I'll stick up a link to him. Sorry, Don, if this embarrasses you, because I know I didn't ask you about sticking this up before. But I have a bunch of photographers who send me pictures on a regular basis. They're all different age groups, and people are just getting on with things. But I want to show you that some of these younger generation guys, like Don, are going out and doing things. So he bought D700 and stuck a 35mm 1.8 on it. Don just goes out and takes pictures, and he sends me these pictures, and he said, hey, look, I took this shot, and I took that shot. This is the point. Like, where is your work? Where are you, what are you doing with this stuff? Why are you buying this stuff if you're not intending to use any of it? Like, what's the point? The ability to go and do the thing that you want to do. What is going to enable you to do that? How do you spend your money? Let's say you've got $2,000 available to spend, or whatever it is. Maybe it's $500, maybe it's $200. It doesn't matter, because $200 can get you a train ticket and a night somewhere in a hotel, and you can go off and do something. Or maybe you can just do it in your local area and it doesn't matter. But you've got to be able to get out there and do this stuff, because there's not enough people doing photography. Because I'm telling you that I keep seeing this again and again and again. No one's got any work. No one's got anything. Yeah, everyone's talking, no one's taking photos. It's just not happening. It's very, very rare that I find a photographer that has any photography. People don't want to stick all their stuff online. I get that, and I understand that. I'm not saying that everyone has to stick all their work online or anything like that. But people's emphasis is so wrong. When I watch the comments, like when I see people looking at, like one of the cameras I'm looking at the moment, because I'm trying to change my professional work gear for my sort of small commercial jobs that I do, and some of the other bits of photography work that I do that's paid, because I need more video stuff. And I'm looking at the A7R5, I'm looking at the Z9 and the Z8, and I'm thinking about these cameras, and I'm backwards and forwards, and I'm weighing up pros and cons in terms of work, because I think this will allow me to do this and this will allow me to do that. Whereas when I look in the comments of YouTube videos and I see what people are talking about, it's like they're comparing the specs as if it's like top trumps. You know, that card game where it's like, oh, this I beat you on this one, on this specification, and it's better than that one, because that doesn't take everything into consideration. It's like, what are you doing? What is it you want to do? I just think that 90% of photographers just want to own the best thing. That's it. They just want to own it. That's really weird. It's such a weird situation that we're in. And well done to the camera companies for these marketing campaigns, because you know what I mean. Well done to you, because you guys have sorted that out. You've got that really nailed down, where you can convince people to buy something that costs thousands of dollars that they're not going to use. Well done to you. That's good business for you guys. That's absolutely good business, because you've managed to convince people that they need to do spec wars, like top trumps. You know, that card game where it's like you have one thing and another thing and you battle it out. I don't even know how it works, but like I'm guessing you battle it out on the specs, and that's what people are doing with their camera gear. And then like, yeah, I'm going to go and buy that one now. No one's doing anything. Now, I know the audience I'm attracting here. I know that a lot of you are thinking the same things that I'm thinking. I know you are, because I can tell from your comments and the way you guys talk. When you're looking at your camera gear and you're thinking about things, I would really urge you to think about, what could I do that would be really great, that would be something where I think that would be like an amazing photography trip, for example, or 2 or 3 days where you could go somewhere or do something that would be really memorable for you as a photographer, or to set up a shoot perhaps. Perhaps you pay to hire a model, or perhaps you know, whatever it is that you want to do, or you get a stylist or anything like that, where you take your money or time and effort. It doesn't have to be money. I'd like to hear from you guys in the comments. Do you have any ideas for yourself? Is there anything that you can think of? Maybe this video is making you think about, where you think, do you know what? I'd love to go. Maybe it's like you want to do some bird photography in a certain location and you think that's something to aim at, it doesn't even have to be that realistic for now. Is there something that you want to do as a photo shoot? Have you got an idea for a photo shoot that you don't mind sharing with us, where you just think, do you know what, if I could put that together, that would be really great? I want to hear from you guys. What would inspire you? What is it that you specifically can do and want to do that you can set up and make happen? Something that you can actually do. Let me know in the comments. I'd love to know what you guys dream of doing, like what your shoots are that you want to do, what you might think about planning now. Let me know in the comments. I'd find that very interesting to read. Anyway, my links are in the description. Go and check them out so you can see all the things that I've got available for you. And I will see you again in the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.